Hey guys, this is Richard DeFord from Doc Pens, and I am excited to be able to review a product for you today that I've been looking forward to doing for some time. This is a pen that really is iconic when you talk about pens in the fountain pen world, and it's the only one like it. There is not. It's a patented device. There's not anybody else that can do it, and so we're going to talk about this today. Today we are looking at the Conklin. Here's a picture of the box. Mark Twain Crescent filler. And so let me change our camera views here and we'll get right to it. Okay, so as we talk about really the iconic pens of our history, of course we think pens like Mont Blanc. It's been around forever and is very high quality. We think about Parker 51. That is another one. We think about some of the Schieffer's, Schieffer Lifetime Balance, those types of pins, all gorgeous pins. But this is one, if you want to own a piece of history, you can purchase the Mark Twain Crescent filler and you can buy it today. It is for sale today, and I find that very interesting. So it has a little bit of a different box printing than what any of the other pens have. I'm going to kind of show you what this looks like. It's very neat. They actually have the whole patent listed on this box. Patented October 29th, 1901. And it even has a number of the pen that how many of them they have done. Um, they filed for the application July 18th, 1901, and that patent was filled October 29th. The Mark Twain Crescent filler. And you even get a chance to see inside the cap. How often do you get to see inside the cap? So they've got each of the figures. For example, this is the actual crescent filler. Then you've got the inside metal piece that goes up against the sack. And then here you have the inside of the pen with the sack and of course the cap as well. And they even give you a description of what each figure is. So they show you what each figure is there. And then on this side, they actually break down all the part diagrams as well. Very interesting box. It's great to own a piece of history. And the reason why I'm excited about this, not only for the historical value of this pen, but I have repaired a lot of these that, they're 100 years old or more, and they come to me for refurbishing. That sack, just like the old Leverfill Esterbrooks and a whole lot of pens from the 30s, 40s, and 50s. They have a sack and a lever filler, and that sack is made out of rubber or silicone for the newer ones, some of them, and that wears out over time. So I have, as a repair person for pens, I have repaired a lot of the old crescent fillers. So the opportunity to get a hand on this new crescent filler was just really neat for me, so I want to show it to you. Of course, Conklin always has a great gift box included with any of their, it's leatherette, any of their pens that they sell. And so we're going to do an open box here, and here is the Mark Twain Crescent filler. And we're going to talk about why it's the Mark Twain Crescent filler as well. But let me pull this out here, and I'm going to kind of show you. So that you can see this interesting device right here. That is what is patented. And, the lever fillers that came out in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, they were still making them, has a sack also. But Conklin really set the bar. Here we've got the Crescent, and we've got this device right here. Well, what in the world do you think that is? Well, that is a locking mechanism. You can imagine if you're holding this, there's a potential to accidentally push this in, and that would make a big mess. And so this is a locking mechanism, and so I'll show you what happens is you can turn this mechanism and see that groove. Once that lines up with the crescent, then you can depress the crescent, but otherwise you keep it in the locked position, and then that keeps the pen from making a mess on you. So very neat design, and something this pen has that the older ones do not have is a texturing all up and down the pen. And it's very subtle. You can see it more than you can feel it, but you can still feel it there. And of course, the Conklin brand, both on the cap band and on the clip. The clip is spring fed, kind of gives you an opportunity to clamp it down on your lapel or on your dress shirt or wherever you need to clamp it down on. I guess even on a purse strap if you needed to. So it unscrews just like any other fountain pen. By the way, look what's on this side. That is a copy of Mark Twain's signature. Why do you think this is called the Mark Twain pen? Well, I'll tell you why. Mark Twain adopted this as his official pen, and he said that basically this portion of the pen kept him from saying a lot of profanity. Because you see, when this is set down on your desk, there is no way for this pen to roll off your desk. And that was a very common occurrence for those that were using a quill type pen back in the day that would sit on a desk pen. If you ever sat it down, a lot of times you'd look away and it would roll right off your desk. And so this was a godsend for Mark Twain, he said. He said it kept him from saying a whole lot of profanities. So I'm going to take this apart. I do need to ink it, so I'm going to ink it right in front of you so you can see how the mechanism works. It's got the signature Conklin Crescent right in the nib, and this is a rose gold nib. Obviously, it's actually a plated nib. It's not solid gold, although I would imagine you could probably get it as a gold nib. That would just be quite a bit more expensive. So, beautiful pen. What you see there, the feed. Conklin and Monteverde both do wonderful jobs with their nibs and their feeds. I very seldom have ever had to do anything to make this perform optimally. And so I'll give you another opportunity there to see what that looks like. All right, so the ink that I'm going to load in this pen, I'm going to put the cap on this for just a minute because there is a little bit in there, and I want to make it easier on myself later. Now, before we do that, let's pull out the box and see what's inside. Normally, you would have two cartridges, right? But you don't need cartridges for this. You don't use cartridges for it, so there's no need for them to include them. But you got instructions and a little information there about the Mark Twain Crescent filler that you can read as well. Established in 1898, Conklin, founded by Roy Conklin, an innovator from Toledo, Ohio. And it was soon after, in 1898, that he got the patent, 1901, for this pen. So, great history there to read about. So that's what's in the box. I'll set this aside and pull out some ink. The ink I'm going to use is Private Reserve Pearlescent Black with silver. And so I did this in another video as well with the red Private Reserve ink. And I'm going to do it here too. It says shake well right there on the bottle, because anytime you have an additive like glitter or any of those types of things, it will settle in the bottle, and so you want to shake it up to get all of that re-engaged. The problem with the Private Reserve, at least that I found in the Pearlescents, is this cap. For me, when I shook it, I made the biggest mess I have ever made with pen ink. I am not convinced that this lid and this jar is rated for liquid. At least it's not rated for liquid to be shaken. So after I made that giant mess, and after I had to really watch my tone and my language and my self-talk, I did go ahead and load that Private Reserve ink in a bottle that I know is liquid rated, so I wouldn't have that problem again. So I kind of shake that up and get all of that ready. There we go. So I'm going to show you how this fills. I'm going to unlock it here. Just get the grooves lined up with the crescent. Okay. And I'm going to tip this down. I like this because it's one hand. You know, when you have a converter filled pen, you have to hold with this hand. You have to twist with this hand. But the neat thing about the crescent filler is I can do it with one hand, which allows me to take this bottle that I have to tip in order to get the nib fully underneath the ink level. And then I'm just going to push that, and it is going to suck ink into that sac inside. I love how this works. And I'm going to go ahead and do it just a few times. That way I get all the air bubbles out, because just like a syringe would do, you know, sometimes it fills with air bubbles, and I don't want any of those air bubbles in there. All right. Then you just wipe off the ends. Make sure there's no ink on the section, because that's where you're going to be holding it. You don't want that ink on your hands. And we have filled it. Just that simple. To me, that is one of the most amazing features of the Crescent filler, is that it is so easy to fill. It does post, so I've said this before in another video too, so if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to go ahead and show you. Well, first off, before I make a mess of myself, I'm going to go ahead and lock that crescent in place. So anytime you post a pen, the reason why you're able to post it is because it's just a little bit more narrow on this end of the pen. So the cap posts on the end like this. The problem is some pens do not include a cap band. And so I have blown out a few caps where I was in a hurry or wasn't paying attention, and I put the cap on and I ended up developing a crack in the cap. And so Conklin gives not just a cap band, but a hefty metal cap band across there, so that you can't do that. That's a great feature for me, who sometimes is absent-minded and forgets and posts too hard. So what I want to do is give you a caveat with this private reserve ink. Let me tell you that this is just Amazon basic white notebook paper. There's nothing special about this at all. I like to test on this mainly because they're cheap, but also I use this daily. I am always writing on these notepads. I write notes consistently. Now I also journal, and when I journal, the paper is different. But for just daily writing, I use one of these. And so I'm going to test this. I expect, since this is a medium-sized nib, I'm going to see quite a bit of feathering with this ink. But I might be surprised too. So let's get started. All right, it's taking just a minute to get the ink rolling. There we go. All right. So all right, writing very smooth and no feathering. I'm surprised. That bodes very well, because I also write pretty hard. I'm not a light, feather light writer. I write pretty hard. So the fact that it is not feathering very much at all it's very good on this cheap paper. So I am noticing that I might have grabbed the nib a little bit, because I do notice a little bit of hesitation. But no, it's doing fine. No issues. Beautiful writing, no feathering to speak of. And this, again, is very cheap paper. I mean, I don't know how much this costs, but it's not what you typically use on a fountain pen. There we go. just as smooth as can be. No real feedback. I like that. I'm somebody that really likes a very smooth nib, and I don't like feedback. If you don't know what feedback is when you're writing, some nibs, as you write, feel a little bit scratchy, and some people like that. It makes them feel more connected to the paper. For me, I like my nib to just glide across the page without any of that scratchiness at all. Didn't really feel any of that in this Conklin pen. I really believe this is a beautiful pen. And if you're looking for a pen that would make a great gift for somebody, especially if they have a connection to history, which a lot of us as fountain pen enthusiasts do, we like history, um, get them one of these pens. I believe there are a couple different colors available, and really a neat thing to give to a gift, as a gift to that person who just really enjoys being connected to history. So also the private reserve ink, the black, looks really good. No issues with that at all. And yeah, this might be your next pen. What do you say? Thanks for watching, guys. If there's ever anything I can do for you, any questions that I can answer, or any review that you'd like to see of a product that maybe you've been interested in, just hit me up on any of the channels, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. All of those are available, or on my website at www.docpens.com. Thanks.